Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We are now live here on YouTube. My name is Brian. If you're new and somehow checking this out, Slender coming over. This is your first ever podcast that you've ever been on. So, period, hands down. This is like game-changing breaking news. Just relax.
Dude,
We're gonna have.
I'm loving it, man. I'm totally digging it.
Heck yeah. So it's going to be a good time. Welcome in, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks also for the 10 pre-likes on this podcast. We will try to give you guys a 10 pre-like show. That's going to be our goal here today as we talk about New World. And I titled this Beyond Brimstone Sands to kind of like, obviously, we're going to talk about in the first part of the show, like our expectations and excitement for next week, like what we're doing in the week leading up to it. But then also I kind of want to dig into your thoughts about what happens next for New World.
I'm so stoked. I have high hopes, but I've always had high hopes.
Yeah.
God, on the forums, I don't know if any of you guys have been following the forums, but I am accused of sucking down mass quantities of copium when it comes to New World.
Let's get our copium.
Yep.
Big old mug of copium right here.
I don't think I'm the only one, though. I can't be. Come on, guys. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked about everything. The new update, the new creatures, the new mechanics, the extra, basically, a fourth ability that we're going to be getting. The new gems, everything is just awesome. We get to customize our class a lot more, and that's something I think we've kind of been lacking for a while, compared to other MMOs anyway.
Yeah, compared for sure. I think loadouts will be a big changer for me personally. I've ended up just kind of being like, y'all need a healer because I ain't willing to change.
Yeah.
It's like I could, but it's like I'm just kind of being lazy. Now, before we get into the actual podcast, as we let people kind of like stumble on in and ask any questions that they want to ask us, sure. Like what got you actually started in content creation? Because I can understand being on high on copium for New World outside of being a content creator, but going above and beyond and actually like putting out content, putting like your passion and stuff like that, is New World what got you started? Were you doing content creation beforehand? What got you specifically started with the content?
So I'm glad you asked. So I was, the main healer for our company when we first started. It was about, 20, 30 of us, a company called Dragon Emporium back in the day. And, everybody was new to New World. It just came out. This was in the very beginning. And, I seemed to be a decent healer, And people would ask me, like, because I would do invasions, I'd be healing in wars. And this was when everybody was new, so everybody was still learning. But I was, pretty decent healer numbers wise. And my friends would always ask me, what's your build? What do you do? How do you have your healing settings, set up, hotkeys, everything? And after explaining it, to so many people, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna record it, make a video, and share it with the the Discord. And I made the video. A lot of people liked it, and I put it on YouTube. And I got so many, positive comments, and people just appreciated the way I explained things. And I'm like, wow, maybe I could do something here. So I started making more videos, and here I am. My YouTube channel's been up for about 9 months now, and couldn't be happier. It's a lot of fun, and once you get started, it's just like, it's addicting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just reading all the comments every day and seeing all the positivity, or it's a mixture. I like helping people. I do love explaining things, and that's how I got started, man, just trying to help my company.
Yeah.
It came.
I wonder if there's also I'm going to propose kind of a thought that I know I've struggled with, but as I've gotten older, you and I talked yesterday a little bit. So we were both dads. We both got lives and responsibilities that, we're very happy to take part in. Right. But on that note, like, I don't know if anybody else has ever felt like this way, but one of the things that shocked me about like adulthood was how hard it was to find friends and to make friends. And in an interesting way, content creation has been kind of an interesting bridge, because I'm making videos so people will want to play video games with me. Like I'm not going to the bars. I'm not like going out and doing all these like crazy things. So generally speaking, it's like awesome to hop on to a Discord call and to kill some monsters and then to go or pause the game, like step away and help my wife for it if she needs anything. You ever feel like any of that ends up helping with as you've been building your community?
Actually, it kind of had the reverse effect with me.
Mm.
It caused some issues, with my ex-wife now,
Mm.
unfortunately. I mean, my kids love the fact that I'm making YouTube videos. The kids now, that's what they want to do. They want to be, YouTubers. They want to be like Mr. Beast and, all these guys that they're watching. That's all the kids do. But yeah, I was spending so much time up there in my little office, my computer room, and it caused some issues at home. And in hindsight, I wish I would have not just dove in so fast and spent because that's all I did. I went to work, 8-hour shift, got home, started making videos, and that was it, rinse and repeat. So yeah, for me, it was not so great.
Oh man, dude. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully that I don't know, whatever happens next with you and with balance, because like for me, I always kind of say like I want to be the kind of dad who wastes time with his kids. Like I just want to like, so I usually try to make sure that like every weekend, like I'm not on the computer, that I'm
Right.
not
That's
streaming, that I'm
very,
not
very
playing it,
important.
even playing a game, unless like we've been playing this Hot Wheels racing game that we got on Xbox,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's awesome. Like it was like $16 and the kids love it, are loving it, I'm loving it. I ended up getting some we've been collecting different toys as the kids get older, so we've
Oh
been
nice.
playing around with Hot Wheels themselves, like in the real world. So the one thing I don't like about it is it keeps like, hey, would you like to buy this car? Hey, would you like to buy this car? Stop
Yeah.
trying to take my money.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't have any.
Yeah, but the cool thing is, man, my kids love playing games with dad. We after this, we're actually going to play some Dead Side, first person shooter. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a battle royale, but you get to build and stuff. So me and the two boys are going to be playing that. And yeah, we play. What is that game where you're the dwarves, and you're mining and stuff? Oh
Mhm.
God, what's it called? I can't remember. But anyway, it is fun. We get to hang out, play video games, and they love it. And then we also make videos. Me and my youngest boy Jack will be playing Roblox, like these tower battle games, and he's like, "Dad, let's make a video. Let's make a video." And I posted one, and I showed him the comments, and he just loves it.
Yeah,
So
and
it is a part of it's cool. Helps connect with your kids, and yeah.
and then I see Successful Geek talking about the Forza 5 Hot Wheels expansion. I'm gonna have to check that out. I've actually been wanting to check that out, but I have not had it. And J Sub says Deep Rock Galactic. Is that the game that you're referring
Yes,
to?
yes. I was on a private chat for some reason, but now I see all the comments. Holy
There you
moly.
go. Yeah.
What's up,
Yeah.
guys? I'm here. I'm here. Deep Rock Galactic. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Perfect.
Rock and Stone. Me and my boy always say that. That's a good.
Rockin' Stone.
Yep.
Well, we've officially hit 21 likes. That means it is time to actually start the podcast. I'm making that up. I have no idea. So we're gonna come up with funny phrases for people like oh, we've officially hit 1,000 likes. The show must end. Just like, oh well, sorry guys,
Hey,
you
let me,
did
let me
it.
go through these comments really quick. My bad, guys. Hey, Slice, what's up? Yun, what's up, dude? And yep, that's it. All right, we're
And
caught
the
up.
nice thing, the nice thing also about comments is I can always highlight them right on
Oh,
the
nice,
screen.
nice.
So if you see something, do that. Don't feel like you have to stop and answer that right away. Like sometimes
Okay.
I'll pin that, like if there's a question, and we might
Yeah, this
talk
is my
until.
first podcast ever, guys. So
Yeah, you don't worry. There's no wrong answers. It's just literally we're gonna kick back, have fun. I wish I had a whiskey
I
because that'd
love it.
make it even better. But all right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and run the intro, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about New World Beyond Brimstone Sands with Slender. All right.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Epic Loot Radio. I have a special guest, their first time ever in all history on a podcast. We got Slender MMO coming at you to talk about Beyond Brimstone Sands, the future of New World. Now, both Slender and I, big New World fans, really excited, really, just hyped for next week when Brimstone Sands launch. So I'd like to kind of structure and get your thoughts on the current state of the game, what you're doing to prepare this week. Are you taking time off? Are you playing 10 times as much? Honestly, that's pretty much the first question. But before we dive into our big, discussion here, Slender, why don't you take some time, introduce people to who you are, to your channel, and all his links will be tagged. He's already tagged in this video, so if you're not following him, you can just click on his name in the title and go give him a follow as well over on his YouTube channel. But for now, the floor is yours, sir. The floor is yours. Who are you and what do you do?
All right. So first of all, I'm also Tequila Man, just like Stubbles over there. Love tequila. So yeah, I've been playing games since the first game I ever played on my PC was Total Annihilation with me and my dad. That was our thing. We'd play games a lot together, and that's where it all started. I've been playing MMOs. You know what? I can't even play single player games anymore. It's really hard because there's nobody to talk to. There's nobody to show, hey, check out this weapon I got, or and it's really hard for me to play single player games now. And I love online. I love meeting people. When I'm having a bad day, I'll hop in Discord and shoot the with my friends and just have a good time. I love it. So the first real MMO I ever played was World of Warcraft. To me,
okay.
That's always going to be, the number one that started them all pretty much. I know there's other games out there around that same time, but WoW is really, what got me started. And I've played so many MMOs, since then. Most of the free ones, I used to just write a list, and go over with my kids. All right, let's try this one this week, and then we'll try this one next week, and until we find a good one that we're going to call our home for a while. I'm a father. I have 4 beautiful children, Gavin, Lily, Mina, and Jack. They're the loves of my life. We're going to play some games right after this, actually. And yeah, I'm a hearing aid practitioner. I help people hear, do hearing tests, and I really love my job. I'm really passionate about it, almost as passionate as I am about MMORPGs.
Heck yeah, dude. Do the best of both, man. Like I always say, like my goal is to be a good part-time content creator, because I like programming. I like going and writing software, and so it's like people are like, oh, you want to go full-time as a content creator? I'm like, I mean, if I ever was considered full-time, like I'd still want to be programming and doing that stuff on the side for sure. So absolutely. Now, Brimstone Sands launches on the 18th. Now, I don't know if that's going to be here in the early morning. We really haven't seen. Right. So it's like, well, they do the normal kind of maintenance patches, like, late at night, but sometimes we see with bigger updates that might be kind of in the middle of the day. So I don't know what the 18th is going to look like for me, if I'm getting up early playing it, or if I'm just playing it when I get off work that day. Well, I can't. I'm starting a brand new job on Monday. So it's like, I don't want to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm out, I'm back. It's like, so that's going to be what it ends up being in that regard. So what does your week look like? What is this lead up? Because we're less than a week away from the launch. Like, are you hardcore grinding right now, or are you pulling back? What is your plans? What are your expectations for the next, like pretty much next 10 days? What do you think?
So I've been playing every day on the PTR since the PTR launched. When the PTR is out, I have almost 600 hours on the PTR now. And that's where I spend most of my time. One, for content, and 2, so that I can be prepared, for the update. I'm going to know the mechanics. I'm going to know the new systems, where to get the heart gem rune right away, how to start that quest, how to get into Brimstone Sands. So that's probably what I'm going to continue to do. Just be on the PTR, try to find those things that, they haven't really mentioned, because, Amazon, they like to, leave some stuff as a surprise, I guess you could say, and kind of not put it in the patch notes. So that's actually what I'm working on right now, is a video I found of some changes on the PTR, some combat changes that were never mentioned in the patch notes.
Oh.
So yeah, that'll be coming out soon, hopefully today. And yeah, that's pretty much my plan. I've already got, a little over 1 million, coin on live, so I don't really need to make money. I've, fully geared. There's really not much to do on live for me right now. So I just, like I said, just been learning and trying to find more stuff on the PTR to get ready.
So the gold cap is 500K. Like, so do you just buy materials that are worth like?
No, I had to leave my company and start my own company. Slender.
Oh, and then you just throw it into the company war chest.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Slender Bank,
baby. That's like, man, I kind of wish that we had more company features, right? So like when it comes,
I know.
What do you want to see them do with the companies in the future?
I want to see them go to Ashes of Creation wiki. and I want them to read the entire guild setup that they have there and all the information, and I want them to take as many things from that as they can. There's the guild options are just so lacking in this game. And granted, it is still a new game. I consider New World a very new game, and I'm sure things will come in time. But a guild storage, where people can have, kind of like WoW, have different rights. If you're an officer, you can get this stuff, different tabs. I think that would be amazing. I think a I don't know, maybe a way for people to either store extra money or something, maybe have like a treasury that's, for people that can just take whatever they want, and maybe a limit per day. I don't know. I know that's kind of already in the game, but God, there's a lot of things I would like to see. Maybe, a guild housing, maybe a guild for, I don't know, just,
Stuff.
more than we have now. That's for sure. More than we
Yeah.
have now.
Absolutely. Now, Successful Geek is asking, as a returning player who's essentially new, only around level 26 or so, what's the best way to get restarted? Do I focus on the main quests to up my level and then side quests just to earn money, XP via the town board? What do you think, Slender?
So first of all, town boards are going to be nerfed big time in the PTR, so that's not really going to be a super viable option to be leveling up. To get started, I would, it really depends on what you want to do, but if you're kind of not really sure whether you want to be a crafter, a gatherer, PvP, PvE, I suggest, starting a couple different weapons and really playing with them until, I don't know, level 15, 20, really get a good idea on what you want to play. And then I would most definitely try to, gather as much as you can, craft as you're leveling up, get to know some of the systems, don't forget to, do all that other stuff, because it is going to be a pretty important part of the game as you level up. And just I wouldn't try to stick to one weapon in the beginning. I'd really play around with a lot of them and just do everything, because the nice thing about New World is they give you several avenues to level up and get experience for your character. So take advantage of that and do everything. When you gather, you get experience. When you cook, you get experience. I wouldn't just do the town board quests and, just hard grind, because you're going to get burned out.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of other great things that you could be missing out on. So really, spread out, try different things, and they're all going to give you experience. And if you're really trying to level up really quickly right now, I can tell you that as a new player, when this patch comes out, it is going to be so much easier to level up. It is crazy how much they've reduced the required experience to get to 60.
For me, I always kind of hesitate to talk about efficiency. Like I people can play efficiently in that regards, but I always try to encourage that, especially with New World. I always say the end game begins at level 1. And if you think about that, because everything gives you XP, and because I think gold is power in a way, like I kind of look at it in that buying power to be able to get best in slot if you want that. That it's like, yeah, there's a value in you like not feeling like you have to rush to level cap, because all the activities that you're doing are progressing you in all these different categories and all across the board. But I still actually would say, even with the nerfs on town boards, like, yeah, like grab your town boards, and in terms of your movement, like if you're trying to just cut out downtime, like running time, like always try to group up your quests so that they actually make sense. So it's like, hey, I picked up these side quest, here's the main quest, I picked up these town boards. Also, I use town boards as a shopping list instead of actually turning in. Whenever it has those item turn-ins, I always just grab those, hold on to those, and then it will mark all the items that are supposed to be for that turn-in. And then I always know there's a demand for that, because people are going to be willing to buy that off the markets themselves. So like at its core, just like cut down your running time, but don't be afraid to get lost. Don't be afraid to kind of go exploring.
It's so easy too.
Oh, and it's gorgeous. I love getting lost in this game. For me, a New World is a very organic experience. I love how it doesn't like require me to really do anything. Like when I log in, like I have a couple of ideas of what I want to do, and sometimes I actually go do those things, but other times I might I always kind of let myself get distracted in the game and kind of go off in whatever direction, and end up having a very like awesome experience. And it usually comes to the like, hey, do you want to go along for this? Sure. So I love that aspect. So that's the best thing you can do. But I would encourage that if you are, in terms of just maximizing like your potential without making that your goal, yeah, just like look at, you get 3 faction missions a day. Be sure to grab those, grab the town boards, grab any any quest within in an area. And I actually really just kind of leveled within an area. I wasn't always worried about moving from place to place, like a hub, kind of WoW kind of model. Like you go from place to place. Like, yeah, make a home some area and just like grind on that until you get like a faction level where you can buy a really nice house. And then essentially kind of be like, all right, where to next? Go ahead.
Yeah, a couple other things. Don't forget your dungeons. The dungeons and the dungeon quests, the repeatable quests, give you buttloads of experience. And now that you don't have to have orbs to get in the dungeons, when we leveled up, me and Brian, we had to find people that had those keys, that were looking for somebody else. It was really tough to make these keys, and it was really tough to get in those dungeons. But since you can do whatever you want, as many times as you want, almost, those repeatable quests for the dungeons or expeditions have to be one of the best ways to get experience. So don't neglect those. Grab the faction quests that go with them.
Yeah, well, especially because every day you get 3 bonuses to your faction. It's not like you can keep doing factions, but they're going to make the first 3 you do really valuable in terms, especially your tokens. And also, while you level up and rank up in your faction, when you get that fully capped, there's going to be some really great things for you to do at level 60. And again, I say end game begins at level 1, but there's content at level 60. Yeah. Well, it's if you once you actually like step into the game and think like as a level 1, like this is the end game, it actually changes your entire trajectory, and you actually see all the value in every action that you do, every tree you chop down, every rank that you get up, and and all the different things. It is, and that's why like it took me 4 months to get to cap, but I played and I loved every second of it, and I still do. Like here I am, hundreds and hundreds. I think I just crossed over 700 something hours according to the achievement that it just popped up on my screen. Yeah, this is fantastic. Loving it. Like still am after all this time, because I also wasn't like, I gotta get to 60 and then I gotta go. Whenever I see people doing that, I'm like, they're like, those are gonna be the people who are gonna release the YouTube videos like, this game sucks and it's dead after I put 5,000 hours in a weekend. Yeah. So I said, spread out. Now, Kamikaze says, hey guys, returning player as well, currently level 33. Do you suggest that I buy a cheaper house or a middle of the pack one, like the $7,500 one? What do you think?
I think, when, especially that early, money's really hard to get. Oh, it can be. It could be really daunting to get a big amount of gold in the game. So whatever gold you have is pretty precious. I would say go with a smaller house at first, maybe. Save some of that money, and then there's no rush, right? There's no rush to take your time, pick out a house you like. With the storage changes and everything, back in the day, it was much more important, I think, to have a big house with all the storage chests. But you're so low level right now. I would say personally, if I were you, I would save my money and get that small little cabin.
Yeah, and get the small house, namely because you can reset your return with the Zoth, and you're going to be flooded with the Zoth regardless. So you're going to use that house and your inn. So at least have one house, and then you have your inn. So you should be able to zip around wherever you need to go, and that just is a huge game changer. And then ultimately, like I agree with Slender 100%. Like start with the starter house, later come back and then upgrade it. But the gold is more important, especially at the lower levels, for tough. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and so it's like, but then what you end up doing is you end up building that ability to zip around, so you're not like just running. And so once you have that, you get you get unlimited returns with the cost of a Zoth, and you got a end cooldown at 30 minutes. So ultimately, the goal in my mind would be I would save up and get 3 houses, and then worry about upgrading. But I actually got 2 small houses, and then I went ahead and went with a big one for my.
Exact thing I did.
Yeah. Yep. We're pro gamers, guys.
So one thing I would have done different is I would have got a house immediately at like level 5. Get that house as soon as you can. It is so nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a game changer for you. So highly recommend that. Now,
if you get 3 different houses, you can travel around the world a lot easier, like you said. So anyway.
All right. So we've clearly established you're a madman for living on the PTR. Tip of the hat, sir. But once Brimstone Sands is out, PTR is offline until whatever is the next round of the PTR.
Yep.
What's your game plan come the 18th?
Ooh, I don't know. The fresh start servers really, caught my eye. I don't know if I'm gonna permanently be on a fresh start server, but I'm definitely gonna go there and check it out. Um, Other than that, on the server that I'm on now, Castle of Steel, I'm gonna try to find another company because the all my friends, they quit playing. They're playing different games now. They got burned out, and it sucks. You spend a lot of time with these guys, and then they kind of get bored. And I don't blame them. This game's not for everybody,
Mhm.
and some people stick with the game, some people don't. That's just the way it is. But I'm gonna try to find a good solid company to go to. Somebody
What
that's
about your
already.
bank? What about your gold bank?
I have a second account, so that's all covered.
Ah,
Yeah, I have two accounts just so that I could test things on the PTR, so I don't have to say, "Hey, do you have 20 minutes to come help me test these new abilities?" I just do it myself now. I have my laptop, I have my computer, two accounts, so that's not a
you're
problem.
artificially inflating these player numbers, sir.
Yes, I am. Yep.
So with your extra account there, that's awesome. Now, when we start talking about beyond this update, clearly we've got things that they labeled for the fall update, which are not currently included as a part of October. That's leaderboards, and that's kind of one key feature. So ultimately, I'd love to hear like what are you wanting to see from the next developer update? What do you want to see as for New World as we start 2023? Is that
Oh,
features list? Is that
no.
player numbers? Like what is it that's going to give you the most joy that the devs can share with you in any time frame over the next couple months?
World bosses. Definitely world bosses. I would love to see some world bosses. We got a sneak peek at that worm in the desert. Has
Mhm.
anybody seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, what did you feel when you seen that and heard it and saw the ground shake? What was going on up here?
Me? So for
Anybody?
some reason I thought you were like asking chat, so I was reading chat. I
I
was
was
like,
kind of waiting for the comments, but anyway,
I
I'll
was
tell
like,
you. How about
wait a
this?
minute, like, go ahead.
I'll,
What do you think? What do you?
I'll tell you what I felt. I got excited. I got nervous. I thought, is this thing actually going to come kill me? I want to feel that, in the game. When I first seen Raffle Bones, I've been
Mhm.
addicted to Raffle Bones ever since he came out. Every
I killed
time,
my first one. I finally saw him. I had never seen a Raffle Blones, and
and
then I killed him.
what did you
Dude, it
think,
was
Brian?
exciting. I even like said in global chat, got my first Bones kill, and it was exciting. People cheered me
Come on,
on,
we
and
need more of that. We need more of that. You know, I've killed that guy probably 70 times. Hey, Jack, how you doing, buddy? And I still, when I see him, my keyboard gets shoved out, my mouse goes all over the place. Just get nervous, like I'm gonna lose him, like somebody's gonna come steal him from me. I love that feeling. And after 100 times of, killing him on the PTR and stuff, I still get excited. I don't care if he's level 20, level 63. When you see that shiny guy, you get excited, and I want more of that. Another thing that I would love to see is I don't ever hear anybody talking about the Gleamite shower. Have
yeah,
you,
dude.
Brian, have
From
you
from the
actually,
Winter Convergence.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
sound, with your headphones on, did you actually see one?
I did. It was
It
incredible.
was amazing, and I've never seen anything that amazing in a game, period. And I haven't seen anything like that since. And I want more of it. I don't know why they. Well, I mean, anyway, it would be great to see more dynamic events like
The
that.
truth about that though is the sound design in this game
Oh my God, man!
is
Don't
if
even get me
it should
started.
win so many awards, dude. Like it is just unbelievable what they've done
Phenomenal.
with the sound.
Their sound team, best sound I've ever heard in a game, hands down, man, hands down. Ever since, the first sound that I heard, that the two first sounds where I was like, wait a second, am I hearing that in the game? Is somebody mining, up in the mountain and hearing
Mhm.
the echo,
Yeah.
and then the fireballs whizzing by in the air, that sound of it burning, just the mage's fireball, the sound is phenomenal. And the Gleamite shower, whoo, that was amazing.
When it comes to territory control, we're obviously getting a big change to that system
Oh yeah,
overall.
big time.
Do you what's your thoughts about at least what I would call phase one of the territory changes?
So I like it. I like it a lot. They're trying to get rid of the Windsward and Everfall being the only places that are coveted. Everybody wants those two towns. Nobody wants Weaver's Fen. Nobody wants Reekwater. And with these changes, they're leveling everything and keeping everything more in line with each other, and they're making these other places worth having as well. And those two towns aren't going to be the only places you can make money now as a company. So I think what they're doing is really great. I read the entire thing. There's still going to be some towns that are more wanted, than others. But at the same time, another change that they're doing is they're giving us incentive to defend our territory. They're giving us incentive to keep leveling up those stations. And they're doing that by giving us more money, per week or however they do it. I've never owned a town before, but they're going to be giving us more money based on the level of the territory. That goes, and when you're talking about level, there's 0 to 39, and they're talking about the upgrades. There's 39 total upgrades you can have in a territory, and the more of those that you have, the more money you're going to get in your pocket. So I think that's great.
Based off the payout structure in terms of percentage, it seems like there'll still be caps. So it seems like also with this change, there's a bigger gold sink being put in anyway, because if a town is not at their level cap, then the total payout does not equal 100%. So right. And that not necessarily is a bad thing. I do wonder if we'll see teleports shift to a coin cost to add in another gold sink into the game itself, because Azoth really is just unlimited. Like it feels like I'm like always at cap. Maybe I'm 20 minus. It's like, all right, plenty to teleport. Always doing my resets. Like it seems like a non-issue to the point where it's like, yeah, gold would be kind of nice. I think gold could end up making it a little bit more of an equitable, approach, especially with more teleport locations being brought into the game, making it more, advantageous to kind of teleport around and hop around to the different spots. But what else do you want to see regards to territory control, but beyond kind of this monetary shift?
I really don't know. I think the way they're going is pretty good. There's I've seen some comments as far as it seems like it's not really fair as at a money standpoint, where that the really good, hardcore PvPers and PvP companies get all this money, and there's nothing really for the PvE players. I mean, you can craft, you can gather, but then you've got to compete with the bots, and it's really tough to make money if you're not in a company that participates in war. And this game is equally PvP as it is PvE, and I think that I would like to see something. I don't know if it really has to do with territory control, but I would like to see some kind of mechanism in place for us PvEers. I mean, I PvP too. I'm both.
Yeah, I do both, but I obviously, like, based off my schedule and my ability, like I always lean more into the PvE side of things, even though I do enjoy stepping into PvP, both in open world and more. What I would add on to that, what I'd love to see is, like, it kind of harkens back to Final Fantasy 11, which is my first MMO, and they had a territory control system in that game, which ultimately was a point system that happened over the course of a week, and whoever was playing whatever faction you were representing, over the course of that week was earning points by, leveling up and playing in the zone. I think something like that could really easily translate into New World. Now, I do feel with New World and its PvP element that PvP should be weighted the heaviest, right? So PvP activities should get the lion's share of points, but then PvE should still be some part of the equation, because I feel like it's kind of that passive, multiplayer aspect. And so I think that would be something that I'd like to see, because then one of the problems that I think we do have, and I don't know if it's, we're talking long term, either they need to bring wars and invasions into like a mock version so that you can queue up for them and play them whenever you want, so there's not like any real territory on the line, or those need to just be opened up all the time through the menu like we have with OPR and Arena. And then along those lines, what the activities of that add to the point score total for, the weekly whatever. And so I think something big I think is coming down the horizon, but I do think we're going to have to wait to like a 2.0 kind of update to see any of these bigger changes. And we're just starting to see kind of the preamble, them kind of really thinking through these problems with real data, which honestly, I don't mind. I love how these games evolve. with
Yeah,
time.
yeah, same here. Same
Now,
here. It's great to see, how far they've come too.
now J
But
Slice. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say I do like the territory changes that are coming. I do think it's going to make things better.
Now, Jay
Overall.
says he's got to be honest. Quit after 3 weeks of playing. Was not planning on coming back because I agreed with all the negative points, but decided to come back in July and was amazed by the changes. This is something that I see happen with a lot of people. Are you seeing this kind of sentiment? And if
Oh,
so, how do
absolutely.
we encourage more people to give the game another shot? And is Brimstone Sands the right time to make that encouragement, or should we, or is later down the road when I'm worried about server queues personally
I am
next
too. I
week.
am too. But I know they are, trying to stay on top of it. They are making it a point to really watch, pay attention, prepare for the queues, and I really hope that doesn't get in the way of this, this update coming out. Um, and I think that would you repeat the other part of the question?
So when it comes down to it, like, is now the right time to encourage people to
Okay.
come back? You're
I
good,
got caught reading
dude. I'm the same way, man.
I have like squirrel. So I think that I mean, if you compare, now with this update coming out to the beginning, it is day and night. The changes. I think that now would be a great time. If not on the 18th, then on what is it, the second, when the fresh start servers come.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, I think it's a great time to get back into the game. Absolutely. Um, how do I think we can talk more people into coming back and giving it a try? I've been working on that myself, releasing videos, should you come back to New World? And, I know I say a lot of, positive things about this game, and there's just so much negativity. I do understand and I do realize that this game still has a long way to go. And I
Mhm.
do understand that there's still a lot of problems, a lot of, fundamental problems that they're still working on. But give them time. I think right now with this update, yeah, I say go ahead and give it a shot. I'm even more optimistic for the future. I see how much work they put into it, and how much they try to cater to what we want. And there's only so much they can do. But I think now's a pretty good time. Give it a
Mhm.
shot. I don't think you'll be let down.
Yeah, I like there's two parts of it because like I always like to be a part of how things evolve. So I always say, yes, absolutely jump in now before the update so that way you can see how the game was and you can see what
That's a
changes
great idea
to be
too.
excited for the future. Because as a Final Fantasy 1.0 vet, a lot of people come in now to the game and they're like, man, I heard so many negative things that kept me away from playing that game. I wish I could have experienced it that at that time because
Oh, yeah, yeah.
MMOs are about their evolution. Like it's a key aspect to the game as opposed to any other like genre game out there. Like I fully expect that the MMO New World that I'm playing in 2 years is not the New World of now. It's not even the New World of tomorrow. Like it's always about that evolution and the things that change along the way. And I really enjoy personally seeing that evolution and being a part of that evolution in terms of
Absolutely. Helping shape that evolution,
yeah,
feedback.
exactly.
Feedback. Uh, for example, world bosses, this worm looks like it's going to be a world boss, and I don't think it would have been here if we didn't, get on the forums together and say, hey, we want this stuff. We know you guys can do it. A lot of other great MMOs have this. We want it,
Mhm.
and it's coming. So, yeah, I agree 100%, man. It is so cool to be part of that evolution and seeing it change and happen.
Do you think
Man,
New World's going to go an expansion model or some kind of No Man's Sky where it just keeps getting updated over the course of time?
the way it's going, I think probably the latter, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Um, it's kind of hard to say. I think the latter. I think they're just going to keep doing updates. I don't think they don't have time to, get a whole bunch of stuff, one big, huge expansion. These players are relentless. They want new stuff and they want it now. I don't think that would work unless they get more people on the team. I don't know. But
They've been
No Man's
hiring.
No Man, I know No Man's Sky. I'm glad you mentioned that. What a great game! What you want to talk about evolution? Take a look at that game from day one to, I mean, every month following, they've got something new.
So, in terms of story, because I see Chad, I see Jay Slice and Successful Geek kind of talking about like being a story. I feel like at least now with the level 1 to 25 overhaul and the new player experience, wow, like I have actually enjoyed the story, but you have to go find the story.
You do.
This is bringing cutscenes, like high quality cutscenes that I'm really excited to see because they've redacted them in the PTR, but they've shown the one they already released, which was at the end of Tempest Heart, which makes me really feel like for those of people who just wanted story driven RPG, New World will at some point be that game because there's no subscription. Like it's literally like we know they're doing 1 to 25, and then we're going to see them do, I'm assuming, the next chapter 26 through 60, or maybe they'll do 26 through 50, and then they'll do 50 to 60 or something like that. Time will tell. But them doing that and having a game I'm literally could talk to people who are like, yeah, I'm not really in MMOs. I'm like, well, I got good news for you. You can play this as just a story driven RPG and put it down and wait till the next act or chapter or however they decide to do it. As the game evolves. How do you feel about story driven aspects within MMOs?
I wasn't really in the past. I was always that guy who, whenever you got a quest, it was just click, 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 next, 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 go. I want to get to end game. I want to look cool. That's what it's all about, right, guys? You just want to have really cool, shiny armor, a big ass sword, and that's what I did. And slowly over the course of time, I've been kind of wondering about, I think it might be New World that got me into, changing my perspective. I do want to know the lore. I do want to know the story about this game. I guess with all these previous games and, like World of Warcraft and the story and Final Fantasy, I took all that for granted. I really didn't care about the story, but now that I don't have one, I want one, so I've changed and I would love to see more story, more lore. Absolutely.
So in terms of the game's evolution, whether like I see Successful Geek talking about, like if they do go No Man's Sky, we'll have no problem supporting purchases from the store. Do you think that a battle pass would serve New World well? And if so, what would you like to see in a battle pass? And if not, what kind of monetization updates would you be okay with New World making in the future?
Well, as far as the battle pass goes, I don't really know what I think on that one. I mean, with games that do have a battle pass, I always participate. So I guess, yeah, I would like a battle pass. What kind of stuff to see in the battle pass? That's something that I've often wondered about. If there were a bunch of world bosses, if there were treasure chests out there, what would be in them? Just more gear that's probably not best in slot. More materials. I don't know what I would like to see, but I would like some kind of, I would like to see new stuff that you can get. I don't really know what I'm asking for, but I'm sick of seeing the same thing over and over and then salvaging it. I want to get new rewards and new things. And that is something that they mentioned in that last dev discussion is they want to work on the rewards, and increase the rewards and different rewards. And I can't wait to see what they put on the table. And then the second monetization, what?
Well, in terms of monetization, if what other monetization systems would you like to? Would you be okay with them bringing in? What's up?
Sinking my money into?
Yeah.
What kind of things? Some dark, like midnight black dye for our armor. That's it.
So just release lots of dark midnight black dye.
I don't know why they haven't given us black dye yet, but they really need to. I'm okay with just cosmetics, as long as it's not pay to win and it's purely cosmetic, things for your house. There's going to be mounts coming, so maybe things for your horse or whatever you're going to get, maybe mounts in general. I played a game, several games where, you start out with a brown horse, nothing against brown horses. I love brown horses. I love all horses, but they're boring. I want to see new stuff. But yeah, these games, you start out with the brown horse, whatever, it's free, and literally every other mount that you can get, you have to pay for. I'm okay with that. It's not pay to win. I'd like to see stuff like that in the future. Maybe some mounts, maybe some armor for the mounts, more, just more loot, more rewards.
So on that note, I guess I see Chad also talking about transmog. We know that right now the only real way you have transmog is through the paid skins. But the game has in-game, things, in-game gear that looks great that people will be like, I'd love to set this as my look. I honestly would be fine if they decided to add in like a token that would allow you to turn in any in-game piece of gear into kind of a transmog item.
Dude.
And then there is a paid aspect to it, but then you're choosing to do that rather than buying a skin.
It's
Like,
always a choice.
right. Well, yeah. And especially because there is also no, subscription there. Like at the end of the day, like I like what they've already done with New World enough that I'm happy to support it. I support it through the purchase of emotes. Like I really like emotes. I don't
Me
know
too.
why. Like, they have great emotes in this game. The table flip
They
emote
do.
is phenomenal.
I just
Like,
got that one.
yeah. So it's like, okay, sure. Yes. Thank you. This is me
Oh,
saying
the pimp cane walk, dude. See
there's
that one?
yes, I think I've got all the ones on the store. I might have missed one or two. Somebody said like, "Oh, you don't have this emote yet." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, note to self if it ever comes back into the cycle."
Right.
But for a battle pass, like actually I would love to see a battle pass implemented with one requirement is that if you purchase a battle pass, you keep it even as the season ends. You get to keep it. So you could always go back and equip and grind on any battle pass that you haven't finished.
Wow. So if you don't get all the stuff in time, you still have a chance to.
Still own it. Now, people talk about like the idea behind the battle pass is that FOMO, that fear of missing out. It's an artificial sense that you got to play, otherwise you're going to miss out on these rewards, right? Well, my thing is like just make the current season the most efficient in terms of your XP leveling. So if you're playing it, that's going to be that, and you can always slow down progression on past battle passes because they don't have to have that extra seasonal boost or whatever. And just like and I also thinking about it this way from a terms of sales. Like imagine somebody coming in, like they're like still on the fence about this game, so they wait and then they come back at year 2 or they start the game at year 2. How cool would it be to say like, oh, buy all of year 1's battle passes as a part of the collector's edition, and that gives them also lots of content that they can work on, right? Like you can always sell that work that you've done without having to lock it away behind some kind of artificially time gated FOMO. And that's what I would want to see. If they end up doing that, that's the thing that stresses me about Destiny. It's like I buy them, but then I never play them, and I'm like, well, that was stupid. Why do I keep doing that? And it's because I
battle passes.
Yeah.
I know. I've done the same thing. Not with Destiny, but with other games. And yeah, it's a total waste. For Honor is one of them.
Mm-hmm. So after Greatsword, what kind of weapons do you want to see them introduce to this game?
I would, a lot of people want daggers. I think daggers would be pretty cool. I was never, a rogue in World of Warcraft. It's probably the one class I didn't play. But I would like to see maybe, I don't know, maybe a crossbow or something. That's one that I've kind of been rolling. Some more magical weapons, man. Like, I don't know if I'd go with the lightning staff. I've heard a lot of people say they want a lightning staff, but I would like to see some other, magical weapons. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. What kind of magic would you like to see?
I don't know, maybe like not like a void gauntlet, but a warlock type of thing where you've got debuffs and dots. But I guess there's only 3 abilities in the game you can have at a time, so that wouldn't really work.
Well, that and an ultimate, you could always kind of mix it up, and match it up.
That's true. But I'd like to see some more magic weapons for sure.
Yeah, like I would love to see a lightning-based magic weapon, because we have lightning magic in the game. We just don't have access to it ourselves. I do agree with chat. Like whips would be cool. Pistols would be really freaking cool.
Yeah, the pistol would be cool.
Yeah, I would like to see, like outside, like I mean, we could go all day. Like maces, flails, halberds. Like there's all kinds of weapons that could be very interestingly implemented in the game. And then ultimately, I would say like one of the things I want to see more than anything is the splitting of the shield from the sword, so that you could choose to take a shield and you could and a spear, a shield, and the hatchet. So you could end up having a lot more build diversity. But that's obviously, we know they said they'd look into that, and that would literally be a big kind of work amount.
But you are right. The shield only being able to be paired with the sword is kind of weak. Yeah, they should open that up for sure.
Well, for tanks as well, because let's go dual shields. Then imagine then you could do maybe two-handed, two dual wielding swords or things like that to really kind of
two swords. I would be so sick. I would totally be on board for that. You know what? I changed my answer. I want 2 swords, definitely.
Yeah. So like in terms of it, I love how whenever they introduce a weapon, it really can update the sandbox for the whole game, because then it's like your builds become like all new options. Mm-hmm. You can really kind of structure, because you just released a build regarding Greatsword and Life Staff. Am I correct?
Crazy. Yes. I love it. It was so much fun. Yep. Yeah, and you're right. You just add one new weapon, and suddenly you've got all these other new combinations. I love, and you could really do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong. Anything can work.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
And then I see chat talking about like worrying about like that could be hard to balance. I think that's a part of the rework, but
Yeah.
that could also be you could be kind of an off tank crowd control machine. Like if that's how you want to structure it in that regards, where you could end up having a lot more crowd control in terms of your build. But then also you bring in ultimates, like you said, as a structural game design piece of it. Like now you have three abilities plus one that's independent of your weapons, so you can really kind of mix and match. I do feel like I'd like to see a runestone ability that's kind of like more leaning into healers to, or like where it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
hey, I'm gonna do a group wide heal,
yeah.
maybe a group wide heal and shield, or maybe a long distance raise. So if somebody goes down, like it'd be really cool if I was like, oh, I got my ult up, I can raise you from
Yes.
afar.
Or like lay on hands,
Mhm.
like in WoW, instant, full health, 60-minute cooldown.
Yeah, like oh yeah, that's like so they're get like this is I feel like a really interesting good starting point for them
I
to
think so
update the
too.
system as well, like with different kind of abilities that wouldn't really make sense or be too overpowered. But the fact is that it's on its own cooldown as
Right.
well. That actually it's like not really cooldown. It fills as you do things. You can actually they could
And yeah, it
programmatically say like
feels pretty quick too.
yeah, so yeah, exactly. Fluff saying like your L, it's like a personal limit break from Final Fantasy. It's like
Yes,
yes.
I love Final Fantasy, man. I played. I thought about going back to 14 again. What a great game.
How far did you get in Final Fantasy 14?
The very first raid, the Bahamut or whatever.
Oh yeah, Binding Qualls.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. We got stuck on. No, we there was one fight where you had to do this hot potato thing. You remember that fight in the coil of Bahamut or whatever? Is that the
Yeah, I
name?
think so. Well, yeah, it's the Binding Qualls behind it.
Pass this thing, between the players during the raid, and you had to do it in a specific order. And yeah, we finally made it past that, and then company fell apart. Drama.
Oh,
You know, it's gonna.
it, it's the story as old as time itself. Literally, I was like, I just did a reaction video that was like, the guy's like, yeah, and then you get that static where like one part falls and then the whole thing just kind of
This
crumbles.
is what happens. This is what happens. You get your raid group, and then you got your other people saying, "Well, I want to join the raid. I want to. How come you guys don't ever include me?"
Hmm.
Well, you finally get to that point where you have two raid groups, and then something happens, and then they split up. The one raid group gets used to that leader, and then oh man, that's exactly what happened. I've seen that so many times.
Yeah, it's I always felt like in like 14, and I've always run into the curse of 7, where it was like we were almost at 8 people and we'd always have to find a random pug. It was like we even tried to like have a bench of 12, and it was like we could always just get 7 people to show. We could never get that 8th, and that was always like, well, we would go do this, but we can't.
Right.
And well, because then it's like, okay, and when you go with the pug, we'd always get like 2, maybe if we're lucky, 3 pools, and then you got to go learn with somebody completely new.
Yep.
2 and 3 pools, 2 and 3 pools, and it's like then you're re-explaining. Then they might come in with their own strat suggestions, and it ultimately was just not worth it. Like it just became like this isn't
And
fun.
then your best DPS says, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go do it with somebody else. And
Well,
actually,
yeah, I want to actually get through. That's one of the things I actually really appreciate about how New World's structure of its high-end dungeons, excuse me, expo dungeons, work, because we ran Tempest, and we also ran Genesis, and we struggled with some of the boss mechanics. But all the way through and up to the point where we did struggle, we're still getting our expertise bumps. We're still getting rewards. We're still getting loot. We're still getting gear. We're still making money. Like we're still getting all these things. So clearing the dungeon will be satisfying when we do have it. But dungeon design isn't a guarantee. It isn't saying that when you go into this, you will be victorious, because the dungeon allows itself to push back on you, to challenge you. And that's actually some of the fun. And it's also not all the rewards are sitting right at the very end.
right.
There are rewards for you at the end, but you also get rewarded all the way through. So it feels like, well, that wasn't a waste of time. And that's
Right.
something that I feel like I actually appreciate it, because it feels way more respecting my time than anything I've done recently in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I've done several dungeons, helping newer people, newer folks, people that just hit 60, get through halfway through the dungeon. They still had a great time, they still got some stuff, got some upgrades, and yeah, you don't have to finish it. You can still, it's not a complete waste of time. I agree, 100%.
Distorted would like to add it into the weapons. Let's get some gun chucks. We're gonna make guns out of everything. That's gonna be great.
What about the Final Fantasy sword with the revolver for the hilt? What is that about?
That's a tank. So it's a gunbreaker. It's like a play on Final Fantasy 8. So it has like like guns and bullets. It's a sword with gun.
It just doesn't make sense to me, man. I
Have you ever
can't.
played Final Fantasy 8?
I played. That's where he was like in a dream or something, right?
No,
I
that's
stopped. I stopped at 7.
okay.
Well,
8 is
I played 7, then I played the online one. What is it, 10 or 11, and then 14. That's it.
11 was the online one, but yeah, 8 had this concept of like a sword that also with the hilt was also part of a gun, and you pull the trigger, get extra damage when you're doing your slice, etc. So that has that kind of aspect brought into 14, which is great. Like I like it. It's yeah, it's Final Fantasy. Like it's a
Yeah,
beauty thing. Yeah, it's like let's go. Like I'm not complaining about it.
I
It's
remember.
interesting they built that as a tank though. Like that's just how that like they have Dark Knight and they have Gunbreaker as tanks in 14. Where as in like when I'm playing New World on the Greatsword, it feels also very Final Fantasy Dark Knight esque. And it's interesting because that is you can build out a Greatsword DPS or a Greatsword tank, and
Oh,
then also with the life staff, then you have even more capability. So
it's a
there's a
crazy
lot of flexibility.
combination, but it
Yeah,
works.
oh yeah, it feels really good. That's one of the things I'm so excited to see. What's to come next with weapons and how that's going to play out. I'd like to maybe see like another focus based weapon, maybe another healing style option. That could be brought in
I
personally.
thought I thought with the Void Gauntlet it was going to be more of a like a Shadow Priest, where you do damage and that damage you do, and they kind of had a little bit of that, but I would like to see more. That
Yeah,
would be so cool.
yeah, I agree completely with that. Beyond the shadow like priest aspect, like would you like to see like a pet based class or a pet based
Oh,
weapon
okay. Final Fantasy 14. My main was a oh god.
summoner
No, come on, guys, help me out.
scholar?
The healer that had the little fairy behind
Yeah,
him.
scholar. Hmm.
Scholar, yes. That was one of the coolest healers I ever played, even though a lot of it was damage absorption, but the healing meters actually included the damage mitigation into your heals, so that was cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was so I was like, I don't see how this is going to work. I don't think it's going to be fun, but I tried it, and it was, I never played. What was the other one? White Mage at the
Hmm.
time when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never even ended up playing a White Mage. I stuck with the Scholar, and I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, actually, that's my main healer right now in
What
14.
is it?
Yeah, is scholar. There's a few things I changed, but ultimately, like,
It's a
I
cool
like it.
concept. Yeah.
It is well because you get a couple abilities later that allow you to put on like guaranteed big shields. So
Oh,
it's
really?
like it's like I can because you have an ability that guarantees a crit. So you use that ability, then you apply the shield, and then you can
How
apply
does your
spread
shield?
shield,
The
and it's
shield can
amazing.
crit?
Yeah, and if it crits, it's
It
big.
absorbs more damage, or
Oh, massively. And
wow.
so it's like 300. I'm going to butcher the tag, like 360% or something like that. So it's
Man,
like then you can spread that shield to the entire party. So it's like
yes.
bop, bop, boom. And then it's like, cool, everybody's going to be topped off for a little while.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
it's like I basically just put y'all's life force like in a full shield on you. So
Yeah.
it's like it's scholar feels
I
really good.
remember I remember one ability called Eloquium. I think I said that right. Is that right?
Who
Eloquium.
knows? Don't ask me. I can't speak.
But yeah, there's a lot of things they can do with healing. I mean, look at wow, how many different types of healers do they have there, and they all have different mechanics, and a lot of them are really fun. I'd like to see maybe some of that introduced, different ways to heal. You know.
Yeah. Now, Jay Slice, sending you some praise says before the podcast ends, got to say Slender is the most underrated content creator. He does amazing videos and has helped me get back in the groove of things. He deserves way
Oh,
more attention.
stop.
Absolutely, I do agree. I've been following you for a little while, and I was so glad because, like, actually, I think as somebody like in your community, probably in both of ours, like, you got to get Slender on the podcast. I was like, sure. So I was like, that's really like people send a suggestion, and my answer was like, all right, I'll reach out, and your game. So I was excited by that fact.
Dude, I am so happy to be here right now. I'm having a blast. This is, like I said, totally digging it, man. And thank you, Slice. Appreciate it, buddy.
So, what's next for you in terms of your videos? You said you've been heavily working on the PTR.
Oh yeah.
Like how do you structure that? Like when it comes down to it.
There is no structure. It's literally, I have an idea. Let me rush to my computer before I forget it. I do some videos, per request. Somebody says, hey, I was on the forums and I found this really cool idea. You want to cover it, and I'll check it out. And more often than not, I do a video on it. What's next? To what's next is whatever they give us next. I've been trying to dabble more into the DPS and tanking, so I can kind of come up with some maybe different builds, different ideas, different approach to some of these classes. So I've been working on that. I'm a healer at heart, so I don't like making a video, or I try not to make a video if I don't know the ins and out, of everything, the ins and outs. So I really want to start heading more into DPS, more PvP, and tanking. There's so much in this game, and I've really spent 75% of the time as a healer, and I want to start, branching out a little more. Other games, I do everything. New World, I've really just mainly been healing. I want to do more, and make more videos with that.
Yeah, I think loadouts will help me do
Thank you.
more in terms of roles, in that regards, because like I was doing tanking, and I was having a good time with it. And then I was like, okay, I need to level up. I'm going to do healing because we need a healer. And I had the gear because I was like, yeah, I'll do some healing. And then I step in and, learning the ins and outs, like really enjoy healing in New World. But then I'm like, all right, okay, man, like just the management of the gear and the perks, like there's no way to, like, I want to snapshot this. And then we know that that's on its way. We don't know ultimately what, how that's going to be implemented. But when it comes to the roles, like the ability to kind of assign your role before going into an expedition, like I hope we get to see more of that. And so back to kind of the monetization thing and like a battle pass, like you start to think about like a player card that you could have, like various things that you could kind of augment, like how you were viewed within the game. So like in the party list, it's so basic, right? Imagine if you could kind of have your own little, symbol. And like when I started to think of what like Halo and Destiny have, like these cards that kind of like that, yeah, they kind of represent things that you've done and unlocked. It's some could come from battle passes, some could come from the game. Like I think there's a lot of potential that New World has in terms of just vanity. Like I don't think we've even barely scratched the surface of little like things that have no power to them, but could be all exciting to see people use. And then you have the integration with Twitch. I think of Bungie, where they have like, if you ever been on a Bungie stream, like if you gift out 2 subs, like it will unlock a new banner for you in game that you can use and you can represent. Wow. And it's just like, cool, this nice little vanity item that you might like, you might use it, you might not, but it's a part of your collection also at that point as well. And then you have New World's integration with Twitch. There's a lot more things that they could do there. Yeah, your avatar, like all kinds of aspects that I think the game, like if they continue to go in the direction they're going, who knows what we'll see. But
yeah, and you're right, the potential's there.
Yeah. Now, around the beginning of the show, you actually brought up Ashes of Creation, talking about how you want New World to go and basically look at the company description that's on Ashes's wiki. Have you put that feedback into the forums and or into the game itself?
No.
You got to. That
as far as companies and stuff goes?
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't. I haven't put any feedback at all. But you think I should?
Yeah, I think everybody should. I mean, especially if stuff that we want. That's one of the things that I find interesting about how a lot of people were just like, oh yeah, Ashes is gonna be incredible. Like Ashes seems like a love letter to the MMO community. I don't know if it's gonna be like as big as people think it's gonna be. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But there's definitely things like on that list that I'm like, well, I mean, if the game's not coming out for 2 or 3 years, like it's a pretty nice little like, hey, this sounds really great. That's a cool idea. Like there's interesting ideas. Like I'm like, what's to stop Amazon from being like, oh, what's our take on that aspect? Because like you said, the companies themselves could use some major investment, and that would be really exciting to see. I know I would enjoy it. You're using it as your own private bank, like there's all kinds of aspects to that. So like, what else would you like to see from Ashes of Creation in New World?
Oh my God. How much time do we have left?
A few minutes.
So I have watched every single development video,
Mhm.
every single live stream for Ashes of Creation. I've been following them for a long time, and I honestly I don't see how they're going to pull everything off. If they do, it is going to be amazing. Some of the things I would like to see in New World that Ashes of Creation is doing is more world bosses. You know, we kind of have one, which is Raffle Bones, and I'm pretty sure we're getting that worm. That's definitely one. Um, the the I don't even know if this is a word, the dynamic aspect of everything. Almost everything in that game, Ashes of Creation, is dynamic, meaning always changing. You know, the world is ever evolving. The seasons change. You don't just have rain and snow. You have different seasons. The animals change with the different seasons. You know, the Gleamite showers in New World is a perfect example of a dynamic event, and I would love to see more of those world bosses, dynamic events. Now, this next one's a little too far-reaching. You know, Ashes of Creation is going to have ships and
Mhm.
sailing and swimming. Maybe we can get swimming one day in New World,
Maybe.
AGS. Um, but I would say, you know, ship battles would be cool, but that I just don't think New World's made for that. I don't think that would ever come, but that would be really, really cool. Um, and then the mounts, and they're working on that right now, is the mounts. And I hope that when they introduce these mounts, it's more than just a, you know, get on your horse or whatever it is and move faster. I hope there's that you can interact with it and, you know, change maybe the gear on it. Maybe they have abilities, you know. Maybe you can hop off your mount and sick them on a bad guy, you know, like a hunter. And wow, um, I think there could be there's a lot of potential there too when it comes to the mounts. Um, but yeah, that's, you know, I mean, there's a lot more things I would like to see if I had a list in front of me, or if I would have been prepared for this question, I would have had a much better answer. But
Oh, don't worry about it.
that's what I've got off the top of my head. Sorry,
I like
guys.
I like I like more of the off the top of the head,
I know.
answers.
It is. It's genuine. You know, it's
Mhm.
genuine. It's not scripted, and I do. But yeah, those are a couple of the things. And like I said, there's a lot more, but that's all I got for you
Yeah.
right
Now, Rage Fu was talking about how they like to level out on open world mobs, and I totally agree with that. That's something I enjoy. And so for me, the two things that I really think, like, there's a long list that I have, and I've probably created endless videos on it. But I'd like to see XP have a value at level 60, like how we have with the crafting and gathering system. I wish the weapon XP and the character XP still also did that. So you would stay at level 60, but every time you get a level's worth of experience, you'd level up and get like a crate and, you know, maybe some gypsum and what have you, right? So then you can still grind out on XP, which there's perks that give you bonus XP for the zone that become completely useless
now. Oh, and you're
once you're
talking about specifically like leveling up the weapons and the
the
character,
weapons and the character, like
like
those
the
two things. Yeah,
okay,
like, you know, in a way, like a paragon level that isn't directly associated with power, more or less, that like with the attribute, you know, like the attribute, not attribute, but the
aptitude.
aptitude system that's working. So then, like, but in weapons, like you could still use your level 20 forever, but you still get experience. It still fills the bar, and it gets you a nice little look. Hey, thanks so much for continuing to use and work and get better at this weapon, right?
Yeah.
Those two things. But then I would take in Guild Wars 2 bonus experience system in New World. That system from Guild Wars exists, but only exists for PvP.
Big MMOs I've never played. What kind
It's
of
a great one. But essentially, how it works is that the longer you're alive, like right now in New World, the longer you're alive, PvP flagged, and if
hmm
you eventually get killed, you give bonus experience for dying. So the person who kills you gets additional experience based off of how long you were alive. I want them to do that on the PvE side as well. So then open world mob farming becomes way more valuable because you could go to an area where people really don't go to, because those mobs are going to give you much more experience. And even if you're level 60,
Okay.
experience is still good for you. So there's an incentive for that, and it's going to change. I don't know if it would visually tell you that this mob's going to give you bonus experience, but regardless, it would be really cool. Then you're like, oh my gosh, that's a tier 10. It's been that mob's been spawned since the last time the servers were started. Like, that has not gone down. But then you think of Ivan, right, where we kill him so fast. Like, are there open world bosses that just aren't being killed, and imagine them just being up for so long of a period that you kill them and you get like a fat like bonus piece of experience? I think that would be really fun. I think that would be something because I love being. That's one of the things I love about New World is it's in how it incentivizes the. I always like I spend my most of my time in the open world. I love seeing players. I love running and killing. I'll kill mobs anyway, like because there's still value in it. I just think that if they address those core systems, I'm gonna have a hard time not playing. It might be bad for me if they did that.
I agree. That'd be awesome to see. That would be great.
Now, on that note, though, like this is the really the wrapping up of the show. So, where can
Oh,
people find you? What are you like? The floor is yours, man. Shout yourself, your stuff out. Yeah, the floor is yours.
so thank you. The really the only thing I really care about, my baby, is my YouTube channel, man. I want to start streaming a little bit more once I get my YouTube, a little more solidified.
That's the right plan. Like streaming as like my people are like, oh, I'm gonna stream. It's like no. Work on videos and
Hmm.
stream occasionally. Like get to a point, but like I see a lot of people burn out who all of a sudden start putting themselves into 5, 10, 15 hour streams, like all that, like I got to be live all the time. It's like, oh dude, like my pro thing is like pick a day or pick like a handful of like times where like, this is when I stream. And then it's just like, and then leave the rest up into the video editing world.
But yeah, but the thing is though, I did stream, a few times or more than a few times. I was streaming, maybe 3 or 4 times a week for, a couple hours after work. But I loved it. I loved
Mhm.
interacting with people. They're asking questions. So I do enjoy it. But yeah, definitely want to get my YouTube channel going more and then work on streaming. But I do stream occasionally, so you can find it. Slender TTV SL3 NDER TTV is my Twitter or my Twitch handle, and then my YouTube is just Slender MMO. Stop by anytime, watch some videos. If you guys have any requests on things you'd like to see videos about, leave a comment, let me know. And I don't have a way to like put my Discord in here or anything, do I?
Just send me the links that you want, and I'll make sure that they get added into the description.
Perfect.
Otherwise, like usually what I just say is like just click on his tag that's in this video, and follow it over to his channel where he has all his links as well. A
Yep,
good
that's
place
all.
to subscribe, and yeah, and
All I
go
really
from there.
got going is my YouTube, guys. So, I love doing it. I'm passionate about MMORPGs. I hope that shows, in my videos.
It
And
does. It does.
I'm a genuine. I love gaming and I love interacting with all you guys. And I love this. If I ever get the opportunity to join your podcast again or the stream,
Oh,
please
dude,
have
absolutely. Oh,
this guy.
absolutely, 100%, dude.
Don't leave us. Appreciate the amount of content you both provide. Yes, we're here for you guys.
Oh,
Absolutely.
and it's because of you guys. Like I would still be making videos, but I would make a lot less videos. So I appreciate all you guys for the 29 likes here on the live show, for the thanks and for the members that showed up, all the green names. Bring back Fluffy Dogs. Thank you so much. Also, Jay and so much more. So I spend all my time trying to sit here and thank members, but I do appreciate that. Y'all support makes content like this absolutely possible. And it's the Gender Slender collab that we never knew we needed. That's absolutely right. Now we're gonna
So,
go ahead and I'm gonna run the outro, and we'll be back for like a minute, ish. I need to make sure I can get down and talk and help out Julie with the kids tonight. But that's been the Epic Loot Radio Slender Gender, or the Gender Slender podcast collab that you never knew you needed. That's a great way to wrap up the show, guys. You are so amazing. Thanks for being here. Please go check out Slender and his channel, and hopefully we'll see you in the next live show and or video. But until then, take care. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah. You're like, how do you do that? I have no idea. I have no idea how we do that. Oh,
so
man. Yeah.
if you ever do this again, or if you ever want to get together again, man, that'd be great. I had a good
Absolutely,
time.
absolutely, dude. Thanks for making time. It always I was like, yeah, you're making content. Let's talk, man. Let's talk New World. Next week is going to be awesome. So, like as we get into the winter, it's going to be strange. So this is definitely something. Let's get you back on, maybe like in January or something like that, where we can kind of like, yeah, let's. I'm assuming the winter convergence will be going on. So
Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
it's like, heck yeah. So, let's see. Yeah, man, we like you got a bottle of water before the show, and you're so smart. I drank all my copium. I'm all out, all out of copium. I guess I just got hopium left.
You'll never be out of copium.
It's so funny. So many people are just like they're just like dogging on the game. Like when I see people just dogging on it, I'm like, have you ever seen an MMO before? Like, I just feel like so many people are algorithmically driven, and so you gotta have to like play the game. And I'm like, I'll take the hate. I'll take the hate because I know that I'm gonna be able to call back to this and be like, yo, guys,
Yeah,
I told you how it's gonna be.
this is what makes me so mad is people expect this game to, it seems like they expect the game to be perfect at launch. This is still a brand new game. I've never seen a big MMO like this be, bug free
Yeah.
when it started. I mean, people expect so much. It's absolutely crazy. And it drives me nuts.
I think even New World will have that same kind of thing happen in a couple of years. People have rose tinted glasses syndrome because you'll forget the bad and you just remember the good. So they're like, oh, I remember I like this game. It's like, yeah, were you there when it launched? It's like, yeah, it usually takes 2 to 3 years before an MMO really kind of matures. So the question is like, do they want to keep investing in it? And right now it seems like they do.
I think so.
I probably won't co-stream the launch just because I'll probably be most likely at work unless the launch is bright and early. So if it's like a late night thing, I might get up early and play before I go to work.
I don't even know if I'm working that day. Speaking of work, man, I want to do part-time so bad so I have more time doing this kind of stuff. Ugh. One day.
Oh man, that just makes me nervous as a dad. Like if my kids were in college or they were off on their own, yeah, like I could totally get on board for that. Like that could be a fun ass retirement, like, yeah, I'm semi-retired and playing games, making videos, and that's fun. But right now, like I'm like, my kids are young. I'm like, oh man, like we don't really have traditional insurance. So like we have to pay for like all the vaccines and dude, like, oh my gosh, like I feel like every day it's like, oh, okay. Well, we're how short on the budget? Like, okay, I'll go work then. I'll go get some more hours in.
Yeah, but it would be nice. It would be nice if we had the financial stability to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at some point maybe.
You always got to have
the genre that we've picked and we love is a hard one though, because it's like there are the like Asmon and I think Josh probably does pretty well. There's probably a handful like of content creators that like you would we maybe consider like, oh yeah, you guys are clearly doing it, but I think within the genre itself, it's a very difficult genre because there's also a lot of like angry gamers that exist within this space. And then, so it's like, they're just, yeah. And then at the same time, it's also not the biggest volume. You're not like pulling Fortnite numbers or what have you, but it is what it is. It's fun. That's why I enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's fun. And exactly. You couldn't have said it any better.
All right. I'm gonna actually go get myself some more copium because my throat is dry.
All right.
And I'm gonna end broadcast. It's gonna circle itself out. So I'm just gonna wave it out, chat, and we will see you guys next time. Probably in January. We'll see.
Thanks for having me.